Sometimes I really do believe that God is an Englishman, and the proof for this, in this case, is Nigel Farage. Not that I think that Nigel Farage is God or even an emissary of God, but it seems like he has just been gifted to us at exactly the right time. In previous elections, nobody has made an election issue out of the Islamisation of some of our political parties. Well, Labour, for instance, but of late the Greens as well. Well, that would be funny, except that I can't take the Greens seriously. Perhaps I should. Anyway, that prince of iconoclasm, Nigel Farage, has started talking about this serious problem, and when nobody else will. But because of that, there is far more discussion about it, for sure. Organs like the BBC and, to my intense disappointment, even newspapers such as the Daily Telegraph are still down with the sickness. But they'll come along eventually because they have to. Fortunately, we have the internet now and we can voice our dissatisfaction with the way they're treating the news. So I do believe that things are changing, or at least will be changing. Yeah, we're not at the... What was it that Churchill said? We're not at the end, we're not even at the beginning of the end, but we are the end of the beginning. Things, well, at least have a chance of getting better. I do hope the weather improves. Okay, I'm Grannyopteryx. Now, first of all, I have to say I didn't upload a video yesterday because I appear to have flu or something. And if you see any jerkiness in this video, it's because I've cut out a cough. I took some cough syrup before, but it has limited results. I'm going to start off with by playing you this little clip from Nigel Farage.
Now, we understand there's been radicalisation since October the 7th, Gaza, etc. We understand that. Another reason why we must stop the boats crossing the channel. Right. What I don't understand is why it's this younger cohort. Yeah. What I understand even less is why nearly all of them were born in this country. I don't know the answers to this, but what I do know is there's a very real problem. And you know, when you see in that poll 23% of British 18 to 24-year-old Muslims support jihad. Yeah. Well, that's not particularly British value, is it?
It really isn't.
We've got a major problem here. So that's what I was doing. And of course, you know, I was being treated by most broadcast media yesterday, you know, as if I was Milosevic or some sort of war criminal.
Unbelievable.
Over daring to raise the issue. Well,
okay. So Nigel Farage says that he can't understand what's happened to the younger generation. They're mostly third generation, that is, their grandparents came from Pakistan. I think I do know the answer, and it's this: the ones who left Pakistan, the older generation, they left it because they saw what a mess it was and how repressive it was, and they wanted to get out of there. They wanted to have a chance in life. The third generation, they go to these madrasas that tell the kids that Islam is heaven on earth and everything to do with Islam is marvellous and Islam is the best way of dealing with things. And these kids have no experience seeing Islam in action in a Muslim country. For sure, these kids live, most of the ones I'm talking about, live in Muslim societies, in small, ghetto-type areas of big towns, and they definitely just associate with Muslims. But the structure around them is not a Muslim structure, the social services structure of which so many take such cheeky advantage. The schooling system, the transport and just general infrastructure. And so these kids don't know what it's like to live in a country where none of those things work, where there is no social support, where there are no social services, where the buses run infrequently and can't be relied on, where the water system is poor. I mean, we complain about our water system here, but it's nothing like the sort of problems people have in Pakistan or Bangladesh. So these kids think that Islam is the way only because they haven't seen Islam in action, and that's why they are so easily radicalised. But I am going to talk about, in this instance, the way these kids are making use of the Labour Party. There are parts of the Labour Party which are simply Islamist parties, sub-parties. And of course the Labour Party would lose a lot of seats if they made any attempt to push against this. So they don't, because it's quite obvious the Labour Party want to be in power. I'm not sure they want to be in power to make things better, they just want to be in power. And this is a tweet from someone called Raja Mia, and from that name I'm assuming he's a Hindu or of a Hindu background. And he is running as an independent candidate in Oldham. So I'm going to read his tweet out. I went and had a coffee with a member of my team. That by his team, he means the people who are going around posting leaflets and knocking on doors and telling people they should vote for him. With a member of my team that was attacked yesterday. And yes, I use the word attacked. He was out delivering leaflets when a car stopped near him. 3 Asian, and then he narrows this down to Pakistani or Bangladeshi, men got out. One warned him to stop and told him it was a Labour town. They then chased him down. The gentleman is 72 years old. What happened to him is unacceptable, but in a town like Oldham, where it's hard to tell the difference between gangsters, politicians and the police, it is not at all surprising. If a more frail member of my team had been attacked, then I fear they would now be dead. Greater Manchester Police are not interested. They are complicit in what is taking place there. I want to remind you of a video I put up a while ago where Tommy Robinson was having a political rally in a suburb of Oldham. And it was the sort of rally that you saw on last Saturday. The families, older, younger, all sorts of people, and they were there in this suburb, and the Greater Manchester Police were escorting a mob of young Muslim men to the place where Tommy Robinson was having his rally. They were escorting them there. There's a video of them walking. I don't think I can find it now, but there's a video of these young Muslim men walking all together, about 4 or 5 abreast, and the police are around them. And they took them there, and it was no surprise, of course, when those young Muslims started throwing bricks and things like that at the Tommy Robinson rally. But that happened with the complicity of Greater Manchester Police. So I don't know who Raja Mia is, but I very well believe him when he says that the Greater Manchester Police are complicit in what is taking place, because I've seen it happen. Now, in another tweet, Raja Mia says he's been arrested or charged several times for various crimes which, it turns out, were thrown out in court. They were malicious prosecutions by the police. So again, this man probably has every right to feel victimised. They have been, Greater Manchester Police have been protecting these gangsters for decades because of their UK Labour links, and I believe that too. the mainstream media won't say a word because they're politically aligned and or on the payroll of the council. So, the mainstream media, I suppose he's talking about the local newspapers. But this sort of thing should be a national concern, and it isn't. I just happened on this tweet, on this X feed. We are fighting this battle on our own. Nonetheless, that does not mean we are on our own. And so this is Roger Meir in Oldham. I can't speak for him. I don't know anything about him or his history, but I do believe that he is being bullied, and his followers are being bullied out of proper canvassing by young radical Muslims. And they're not doing it because they believe in Labour principles, of course. They're doing it because they believe they can influence the Labour Party to make laws that will be tolerant to Islamist ideals. Now, some Muslims have deserted the Labour Party and they've gone to the Greens, which is, well, it would be funny if it weren't so tragic. But still, there are areas of the Labour Party which are supported by Muslims, and that's why the Labour Party tends to go for the Muslim side of things. Like, for instance, when the Labour Party gets in power, it says it will recognise Palestine as a state, which is obviously something that's been driven by their Muslim supporters. And when they do that and then they start giving aid to this theoretical state, that will be our jizya, forced by Muslim groups in pockets of the Labour Party. But at least we can talk about it now, which we couldn't do in the last election or any of the others before it. So that's what I mean about a hopeful sign. Okay, till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Graniopteryx design or Grambo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.graniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.